Good afternoon and welcome to TVM News. Today is Friday, October 1st. Welcome to spooky season. I'm Emma Rushforth.
And I'm Ellen France. Today we will tell you about Marywood's Psychological Services Center.
We also have news about live theater returning to Marywood.
And we'll check in with TVM sports anchors Soren Sevenson and Nevika Molinaro to find out the latest in Marywood and professional sports.
Yesterday morning, a Marywood student tragically passed away in a car accident. Catherine Clouston-Babiak was a sociology major in the College of the Arts and Sciences from Hancock, New York. Our condolences go out to the family.
Live theater is returning to Marywood. Students will be performing Henry Ibsen's play When We Dead Awaken under the direction of Dr. Timothy Piles. The show runs from October 7th to October 9th, and admission is free for IHM sisters and Marywood students, faculty, and staff. There is a $10 ticket fee for community members. Tickets can be purchased at Marywood-University tickets.com.
Marywood-University's Psychological Services Center will be providing depression screenings for students next Thursday, October 7th. It is National Depression Screening Day on that day. The Psychological Services Center will be offering free and confidential depression screenings from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. The screenings are open to the public and will also provide treatment options for mental illnesses.
Marywood University's Professional Continuing Education Department will offer a 120-hour long-term care nursing home administration and refresher program during the fall of 2021 and spring of 2022 semesters. Each of the 16 courses are approved for 7.5 continuing education hours by the Pennsylvania State Board of Examiners of Nursing Home Administrators. Each course is $150 and will be held in the Swartz Center for Spiritual Life.
The Art Studio at Marywood will be hosting 2 weekend workshops this month in the Insulaco Center for Studio Arts. On October 16th from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m., a paper-making workshop will be hosted by Associate Art Professor Christine Medley. The cost is $40, and attendees are encouraged to bring in pressed or dried flowers. On October 23rd from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., a beginner's calligraphy workshop will be hosted by Margie Zoms. The cost for this event is $45. Registration is required to attend both events, which can be found on the Marywood website.
Marywood University will be hosting the annual Lackawanna County College Fair on October 20th. Over 50 colleges and universities will be represented at the event, which brings with a higher education and financial aid presentation at 6:15 p.m. and 7:15 p.m. in the Swartz Center for Spiritual Life. The fair and presentations are free to the public. For more information, contact the Office of Admissions for Marywood. When we come back, we'll tell you about local students who were charged with planning a mass murder attack.
Myth. If you get COVID-19, you'll recover after a few days. That myth is false. We're only just beginning to understand the effects of COVID-19 on the human body, as we're starting to see more and more people identifying as long haulers who are having symptoms for weeks, if not months, after their initial infection. Continue to wear a mask, socially distance, and wash your hands. Together, we can keep COVID out of school.
For ways to keep your community safe, go to backtoschooltogether.com.
Hey Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry, I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
Hey, let's check out this park. Oh, wow, that's really cool.
To find a great local park or forest near you, go to discovertheforest.org.
I don't think we're free in this country. For 100 years, you saw Black people menaced and targeted and lynched and beaten and brutalized. I think we're burdened by this history. More people have to be willing to do that uncomfortable, inconvenient thing that justice requires for things to get better.
Truth can inspire change. Learn more at EJI.org.
A former coach in Lackawanna County has pleaded guilty to corruption of minors and indecent exposure. 41-year-old Jamie Monahan of Troop allegedly sent a teenage girl lewd messages and pictures of his genitals. Officials believe he met the girl through a youth basketball league. Monahan will be sentenced later this year.
4 students at Dunmore High School were charged with plotting a mass murder attack on their high school. The attack was to occur on April 20th, 2024 in honor of the 25th anniversary of the Columbine attack. 2 of the students are being charged as adults due to weapons being found at their homes.
The Luzerne County Director of Elections resigned this week. Bob Morgan has served in his role since March of 2021. Just 5 weeks before Election Day, he has submitted his resignation, leaving for a job in the private sector. Morgan's last day will be October 8th.
Wilkes-Barre hosted their 4th annual multicultural parade. The parade walks through downtown Wilkes-Barre and celebrates the different cultures that exist in the city. The parade planners say it was one of the most well-attended events hosted by the city since the pandemic, and the local health department was in attendance offering COVID vaccines.
Hundreds of Christmas trees were damaged by a car in Carbon County. A car driven by a man from Luzerne County plowed through Christmas tree seedlings on a farm near Weatherly, Pennsylvania. The driver has offered to pay for the damages, totaling around $2,700.
A new record store is opening in Columbia County. Wax Packs Records opened up this Saturday after the owner, Mark Collier, hosted a very successful pop-up record shop in Berwick over the summer. The record store is in the same building as Collier's wife's chiropractic office. Collier's wife gave him space to help him achieve his dream of owning a record shop. Collier says he will be updating his inventory every week.
A Schuylkill County man was arrested after police say he committed a 5-day crime spree in Mahanoy City. 41-year-old Thomas Heiser was charged with vandalism, terroristic threats, assault, and more this week. Heiser allegedly threw a brick through the window of a firehouse, in addition to damaging a senior center, a light post, and threatening EMTs with a knife. There is no known motive for the spree, and Heiser is locked up on $75,000 bail.
Women in Aviation International celebrated its first ever event for NEPA girls this weekend. The event introduced at least 50 young girls to the possibilities that they could have in a job of aviation. The NEPA Women in Aviation group formed during the coronavirus pandemic and hosted this Women in Aviation Day in correlation with the 7th Annual National Women in Aviation Day. Up next, we have updates on the R. Kelly case.
Myth. I can party with people as long as they don't have symptoms. That myth is false. As we've seen, up to 40% of people who have COVID-19 are asymptomatic and can pass it on to others. So I'd recommend avoiding any social parties, especially indoor ones. If you want to try to socialize but reduce your risk, I'd recommend meeting outside in small groups, continuing to wear a mask, and socially distancing from others if you can. Then together, we can keep COVID-19 out of school.
For ways to keep your community safe, go to backtoschooltogether.com.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right. Because a few hours ago, in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign. Not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a 4th ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
I am what hunger looks like in America. I am an 8-year-old girl who's not excited for the last day of school. Because this may be the last time I'll have lunch.
Till September.
I am a single father of 2 who works 3 part-time jobs. And that's still not enough to put food on the table. I was created by artificial intelligence from faces of the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger.
Feeding America, 200 food banks strong.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies.
Selfie nailed it. We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's put a ride home.
Welcome back to TVM News. R&B singer R. Kelly has been found guilty in his sex trafficking trial. A New York court found Kelly guilty on 1 count of racketeering and 8 counts of violating the Mann Act. This act prohibits transporting people across state lines for immoral purposes. Allegations of Kelly's sexual abuse of minors and young women have been Hollywood fodder for decades. Kelly will be sentenced on May 4th, 2022.
A mother and her son died on Saturday after falling from the concourse level of San Diego's Petco Park. The 40-year-old mother and her 2-year-old son were pronounced dead at the scene after falling 6 feet during a Padres game. The local police are investigating after deeming the situation suspicious.
Top military officials contradicted President Biden's statements on the withdrawal from Afghanistan during congressional hearings earlier this week. Generals McKenzie and Milley were questioned by the Senate over the handling of the evacuation, as well as Milley's controversial phone call with Chinese officials on January 6th. President Biden claimed that no one had advised him to leave 2,500 troops in Afghanistan, but General McKenzie testified that he had advised both President Biden and Trump to leave a small military presence in the country.
Fossilized footprints found in New Mexico in 2016 have officially been deemed the Earth's earliest footprints in North America. The footprints in White Sands National Park, New Mexico, have been a topic of discussion for years prior to their discovery in 2016. The footprints date back to 21,000 to 23,000 years ago, which was earlier than scientists initially thought people came to North America. The majority of footprints seem to have been made by young children and teenagers, showing that scientists that younger people did most of the work back then.
The man responsible for a shooting at a Maryland newspaper will spend the rest of his life behind bars. 41-year-old Jared Ramos was sentenced to 6 life terms in prison without the possibility of parole. Ramos entered the Capital Gazette newspaper office in Maryland in 2018, opening fire and killing 5 people. Ramos attacked the newspaper after they published details of a crime he had committed.
Police in Norway have reported numerous disturbances and mass clashes as citizens of the country take to the streets to celebrate the end of their COVID restrictions. The Norwegian government suddenly announced on Friday, September 24th, that the country of 5.3 million people would return to normal after 561 days of living under COVID restrictions. The sudden news brought many civilians out to celebrate, which also caused mass brawls in the street, including 50 fights.
A suspect has been arrested in a Texas triple homicide this week. 41-year-old Jason Allen Thornburg of Fort Worth, Texas, was arrested after he confessed to 2 murders unrelated to the triple homicide. 3 dismembered bodies were found in a burning dumpster last week. Thornburg claimed they were biblical sacrifices. He is held in lieu of $1 million bail in Tarrant County, Texas.
The Tony Awards were held last Sunday, September 26th, and celebrated the return of Broadway after an 18-month shutdown. Moulin Rouge swept up with 10 awards, including Best Musical and Best Leading Actor. Actor Danny Bernstein took home his first Tony after 7 nominations and the death of his wife earlier this year. Lauren Patton also took home her first Tony for her controversial performance in Jagged Little Pill. The event aired on Paramount Plus and concluded with a 2-hour tribute to theater live on CBS. When we come back, we will hear from TVM sports anchors with the latest in Marywood and professional sport.
COVID-19 has changed how we express our faith and gather to worship. Now it's time to take the first step that lets us get back to spreading the word without spreading concern.
Before we can safely come together, we need the facts.
As COVID-19 vaccines become available, you may have questions.
Should I get it?
Is it safe?
Should I wait?
It's smart to question. Now, get the facts at getvaccineanswers.org so you can make an informed decision when vaccines are available to you.
Hey world, I have a quick message. It's about safe driving. All right, let's go. Anytime you're driving, have the seatbelt buckled tight. Both hands on the wheel and your phone out of sight. When not in your hand, trying to text somebody back. Because if you do, your car might get smacked. The moral of the story, just put your phone down. The people on the road will stay safe and sound. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Yeah.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Never gonna let you go. Never gonna let
Welcome back to TVM News. Let's check in with Marywood sports anchor Nevica Molinaro. So Nevica, what's going on in Marywood athletics?
Well, Emma, it's been an exciting week for Marywood sports.
Oh, that sounds great. I can't wait to hear more.
Marywood's women's tennis team holds a record of 1-3 this season. The team's first match was September 7th, where they suffered a 2-7 loss to Misericordia University. Those two matches were won by Cara Lamborini and Elsa Kovac in doubles, in addition to Gabriela Novak in singles. On September 19th, Marywood's women's tennis took home a 9-0 victory against Juniata College and unfortunately suffered a defeat the two following games. On September 27th, the team was defeated by Cairn University 3-9 and again to the University of Scranton 2-7. The girls' next game is this Saturday, October 2nd, 11 a.m. against Muhlenberg College. The Marywood men's tennis team currently holds an 0-2 record. The team's first game was September 19th, where they suffered a 1-8 loss to Juniata College. The single victory was won during a double by Eddie McGree and Stefano Virla Suri. And September 27th, against Kearney University, our boys suffered a 3-6 loss. Those three Pacers victories came from doubles matches with Jared Palmer and Hunter Tulipsky, and two singles matches with Eddie McGreevy and James Clawley. The boys' next game is also this Saturday, October 2nd at 11 a.m. against Muhlenberg College. The Marywood's men's soccer team currently holds a record of 0 wins, 6 losses, and 1 tie to start their season. On September 29th, the Pacers put up a hard fight against Susquehanna University, but sadly faced a 1-2 loss. The lone goal was scored by Hunter Iverson. The men's next game is Wednesday, October 6th against Immaculata University at 4 p.m. That's all for Marywood sports. Let's check in with Soren Swanson for the latest in professional sports.
Thanks, Nevica. This week has been an exciting week in the world of professional sports. The first matchup during Week 3 of the NFL was between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Cincinnati Bengals came out on top, beating the Steelers 24-10. The next game of the week was between the Atlanta Falcons and the New York Giants. The Giants put up a good fight, but ended up losing to the Falcons 17-14. The Philadelphia Eagles squared off against the Dallas Cowboys and proceeded to lose with the score of 41-21. The Los Angeles Rams took on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. In an upset victory, the Rams came out on top of the Buccaneers, winning 34-24. My featured game of the week, the matchup between the Green Bay Packers and the San Francisco 49ers. It was a very close game, but in the end, the Packers came out victorious with the win of 30-28. Here's a look at the NFL's games for this week coming up. The Kansas City Chiefs will square off against the Philadelphia Eagles on October 3rd at 1 p.m. on CBS. Also at 1 p.m. on October 3rd, the New York Giants are taking on the New Orleans Saints on Fox. The featured game of this week is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the New England Patriots. Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski facing off against their past teams is always going to be an interesting matchup. The game takes place at 8:20 on October 3rd, and you can tune in to watch on NBC. Major League Baseball has some exciting matchups happening this weekend. Tomorrow, October 2nd, the Pittsburgh Pirates will face off against the Cincinnati Reds at PNC Park at 6:35 p.m. Tampa Bay Rays are facing off against the New York Yankees at Yankee Stadium on October 2nd at 1:05 p.m. And the Philadelphia Phillies face off against the Miami Marlins on October 2nd at 6:10. For college football games to look forward to this weekend, to start off with the number 8 Arkansas taking on number 2 Georgia at noon on October 2nd on ESPN. You can also tune in to NBC at 2:30 to watch number 7 Cincinnati versus off against number 9 Notre Dame. The featured college football game of the week is going to be a close one, with number 21 Baylor squaring off against the number 19 Oklahoma State. The game is going to take place on October 2nd at 7 p.m. on ESPN2. On a different note, NASCAR had a race last weekend in Las Vegas, and Danny Hamlin came in first place. The next event will take place in Talladega on Sunday at 2 p.m. on NBCSN. That is all for professional sports. Back to the desk.
The New York Yankees clubhouse has a new face. Bronxy the Turtle was adopted by Yankees pitcher Nestor Cortez Jr. and has since become a rally turtle for the team. The Yankees went 7-0 after getting Bronxy, that streak only being broken last night after a defeat to the Toronto Blue Jays. Bronxy is currently in his enclosure at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx, though he is known to run around the clubhouse floor. Well, I hate the Yankees personally, but I love turtles, so I think that balances it out.
And I love the Yankees and I love turtles, so I can't believe that it's so cute. I absolutely love it.
That's going to do it for this week's edition of TVM News. From everyone at TV Marywood, thank you for tuning in.
Be sure to follow TV Marywood's YouTube page and like the TVM Facebook page to stay up to date on the latest happenings and to watch additional content. I'm Emma Rushworth.
And I'm Ellen Franz. We'll see you next week.